Hi guys, welcome back to Jam Jam Productions presents Let's Talk Production. Today we are joined by Mitch Cassidy, who is part of Primetime Mitch YouTube channel. If you haven't already, check him out, subscribe. He's got some great videos. How would you describe your skill? Movie reviews or movie lover videos, or how would you? What avenue would you put yourself down? Like, how do you think about that one now?
I like to say a reviewer for the average movie lover.
Okay, no, that's nice. You thought about that one. I could see that.
Yes. Yeah, I put some thought into it, just a little.
So obviously your YouTube channel on YouTube, I've been watching some of your videos. You've got some really lovely content there, especially just like you said, your poster wall you can see behind you. What would you describe your channel as at the moment? Would you say it's more for generic horror, or is it for all films, or is it for the people who don't necessarily know yourself at the moment? Just introduce yourself.
Well, really, Primetime Mitch is based around movies in general. It just leans towards horror because I have a leaning towards horror, so it's my preferred genre, and it's the one I know the most about. But overall, I do like to have a mixture, and I like to put movies in there that people don't often really think about or know about. There's a few classics thrown in from like the 50s and as far back as the 30s, actually, one of them. Yeah, and then I'll sprinkle in a few dramas, a few kitchen sink dramas is another thing I'm quite fond of. Probably something to do with being from the north. That.
No, never. No, I don't know what you're talking about.
But yeah, I like to have a category for everything. So Primetime Itch is basically built around the fact that I don't have a ton of movie degrees. I'm not very good at remembering directors, producers, special effects artists, and even actors sometimes. But I kind of watch everything on face value as the average movie lover would. So that's what it comes from, really.
Yeah, no, I really like the idea of you just giving the people the great understanding of watching something with them there and then and giving the honest opinion, and instead of being like, oh, this is filmed by this famous director, so I've got to be nice.
Yeah, well, I tend not to. I think it's because there's so much great content out there. There's so many really good YouTubers that do so much research on what they do, and they live the movie industry, so they provide some really wonderful insights. I've not got the memory retention for any of that. I can't retain information like I would like to do. It's why I'm not so good at learning languages and things. So basically, yeah, everything is face value. If I know a bit about it, I'll share it. But a lot of it is just like sitting next to me on the sofa watching it.
Oh, perfect. And how have you been doing that channel at the moment?
It's actually nearly a year old.
Okay, so
yeah.
Are you having a big anniversary party or anything like that? Or is it...
I'll do something live. A live anniversary party would be great. But yeah, I started it. What it was, I'd been living in my town that I grew up in all my life, and I decided one day to completely change my life, change my job. I handed my notice in, and I moved in with my partner in near Manchester. Mm-hmm. And I decided that this was a route I wanted to go down. I wanted to try and right. So yeah, what was my job before? Oh,
yeah. What did you do before? Yeah.
A lot of very unpleasant physical jobs. I was working in warehouses, handling heavy goods and packages and things like that. And I've really done that kind of thing for the last nearly 20 years. Simply just to earn a living, and everything I did on the side was a hobby. My video editing and anything creative, I do voiceovers and things like that. That was all hobby work. Didn't get anything from it. But I think I've started realising over time now that I want to start making something out of what I actually enjoy, because you lose the motivation to do the things that make you if you're sort of just getting by all the time.
That great expression, isn't it? Life gets in the way. But
yeah.
No, I really appreciate yourself and the commitment that you're having to be able to go, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to do my passion, what I love to do. And I really praise you for that, because me, myself, unfortunately, I still have to have a normal day job to pay the bills at the moment. But for me personally, I'm still scared to be able to quit that and go do what I want to do full time, because I'm like, oh God, where's the next paycheck coming from? How will I survive? You know.
That's the problem I had. I knew I couldn't afford to do this, and it was basically a decision I made whereby I said, right, I'm going to give myself a nest egg of some kind, And at the time, I don't mind saying, I've had a lot of struggles with sort of stress and things like that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah,
I ran a small business at one time as well, which I was really played on that. I
yeah,
was exhausted and run down a lot of the time, so I knew I had to give myself a break. My partner's very supportive, and I realised that I can only. This is the most important time now. I put all this effort in now. I'll hopefully get the reward at the end of it. I've given myself a chance and a slot where I can just focus on this predominantly, and I don't have to worry about paying the bills anymore, just for now. But I
yeah,
know
yeah.
that this is where all the hard work has to be done.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting from that point of view. And you're saying about obviously that the stress that come with that and everything like that. Was that a major impact for you? Like, do you feel relieved now, or do you still sort of have moments of that, or how are you dealing with that? Because obviously a lot of things now is mental health and everything like that. How are you doing coping with that at the moment?
Oh, I'm very aware when it comes to mental health, because that was one of the catalysts behind starting this up. It was I'm bringing myself down because I'm not using my skills or any kind of talents. I need to do something, and even if it's a risk, and it is, because I'm now sort of, I've given myself this time out of work. At some point, that's going to have to translate into something.
Yeah.
Um, but I'd rather have this kind of pressure, because this isn't stress to me. This is exciting and it's an adventure. Whereas
Yeah, yeah.
before it was horrendous. I was constantly unwell all the time. I was always anxious. I was always full
Yeah.
of worry. And I still work on this kind of thing. I go to Andy's Man Club every night, every
Oh,
Monday
okay,
night.
very nice. Yeah.
I'm still speaking to people, going through some kind of therapy as well, just to try and manage my time well, and see things in a positive way. But this time period now, this year, being out of what I was doing and trying to put all this effort into YouTube and to creation, has been probably the most productive I've ever felt in my life.
Well, good luck to you. And honestly, if it's helping you and you're doing well and you're striving, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job, like I said, from what I've seen from your channel and your Instagram, and you are putting the time and effort in. You keep putting the posts up and the stories, and so I think just keep doing what you're doing. Like I said, no one wants to wake up at 6 a.m. and go to a job that makes them feel like
I mean,
absolute rubbish.
I've got a lot of, that's not discrediting anybody that does that on a daily basis. You've got
No,
to
no, of
work,
course
and
not. But
but I always look at it that I did it for nearly 20 years. I think I've paid enough dues now that I could try something new.
yeah, yeah,
Because I do work hard. I still work all day. I just don't do it for a wage packet at the moment. So
yeah. No, no. You do it. Well, hence why I do it for love.
yeah,
You do it for the ambition. You do it for entertaining someone else, essentially, if they can be entertained.
that's the hard part.
That's the hard part, as we know, going into things like that. But yeah, no. So in relation to that, like, how is the channel going for you? Is it going how you planned for it to go? Is it thriving as quickly as you want it to, or is it not getting to the level you want it for the, like you said, you come up to year anniversary? Have you thought about things like that, or are you just sort of playing it by ear, sort of it grows as it grows, or?
I started playing by ear. And then I realised, because I've been doing a digital marketing course as well to try and learn
Oh,
a bit
okay.
more.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've realised that I didn't set any goals at the beginning and targets, which you're supposed to do for things. So now I know that I'll do that. That I need to do that. I will
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that. But
Okay. In terms of things like set amount of followers and things like that, you
yeah,
set yourself targets, or yeah, okay.
yeah. So my partner keeps saying to me, "Oh, you should aim for 200 subscribers by the end of the year." And I'm currently, I think it's 183 or something like that. So I'm on the way to it, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
an achievable goal. If I said, "Oh, I want 5,500 by the end of the year," I'm going to be disappointed, and it'll demotivate me. It's just, so it's got to be achievable and measurable. It's got to be smart, and I think at the moment the way it's going, I'm quite pleased with it. I've got enough followers that I get views and comments on the videos. Obviously, I'd like it to be more, but it's work in progress. I have found out that you have to work right across the platforms. It's not just sticking to YouTube. It's putting in the work on Instagram.
Yeah.
TikTok, things like that. Just constantly saying, right, I'm going to put this on this platform this morning, this on this one a little bit later, and it's constantly interacting with people and networking, and so, and it's all that work in between the actual visual, which I've found out it's fun, but it does require you to be on the
Time
ball all the
consuming
time.
sometimes and on the ball, like you're saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I appreciate that because myself, like I said, I find it. I don't know if you find this issue. I find it hard to move people from one platform to the other, especially with trying to set YouTube links and things. A lot of people now want to go to Instagram, watch it on a reel, be done with it, move on to the next thing. I don't know if you're finding that issue as well, but me personally, I know I'm finding it hard to move one person from, say, Instagram to Facebook or Facebook to YouTube, or most people just want to scroll troll.
Well, I think that's sort of more a generational thing. People want that instant fix. You know, they want something quick and easy. They don't want to be moving about the houses. But I'm finding if I have a goal that is what you just said, then I want to move people from Instagram to YouTube. That's where the collaborations have come in. So
Yeah.
I said, how can I get people to come from Instagram to watch YouTube? And I looked at the people on my Instagram and the people with a lot of followers who put on constant content about things that I've got an interest in, like horror movies, for example.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just ask a question: would you like to talk about a certain movie on my YouTube channel? And then if they do, we do a little collaboration, and then it gets shared across Instagram with the links, and people then can go and see their favorite content creators in a more relaxed environment on a video, and it's something to
Yeah.
chill to and to relax to. It is hard, but there is a way to do it, I think, and I'm doing it very slowly. It's like a walk before you can run thing.
No, no, no. It's whatever sets you up. Like you said, you're learning the boundaries of the channel and the things, and you set boundaries for yourself. How's, like you was just talking about the course you was doing online? Like you were saying, is there anything else you necessarily took away from that course at the moment, or
I'm still doing it. I've got 2 modules left to go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's an online course, but I think I've found out that it is all about planning in advance, about looking at the demographics and the behaviours of people, and finding out where your success is and where it's not working so much, and finding a way to either make that better or sort of change it altogether. Like, for example, one of the ones that isn't as successful for something like this is Facebook. It's just there's not that many people on the page. They tend to
Yeah.
it tends to be Instagram and TikTok and things like that that are more designed for this, because it's a lot of it's video content, a lot of it's talking, and most of that is like TikTok and Instagram reel based.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
I'm finding Facebook at the minute for me is a bit like a dinosaur. I don't know if you're finding the same sort of. It's like considered TikTok, like you said, and Instagram is a little bit more the things you can do with it. I feel like Facebook is a little bit like a dinosaur at the moment. I think it needs to catch up a little bit.
I think Facebook is mainly now just it is the plaza of people that it was intended to be. It went through a phase of being somewhere where you would go and look for content like video content and pictures, but now it seems to be just a communication hub. Everywhere else is sort of taking over on the other stuff, I find.
Yeah, yeah, no. So, but this on a lighter note, what would you say was necessarily one of like your fondest moments running your channel? Maybe it's interviewing one of your favourite people. Maybe it's one of your favourite films, sort of thing. What would you say? If you have a couple or anything like that, what would you say? What would be some of your fondest moments of your time the past year with your channel?
That's quite an easy one. The second video I did, my first video I opened with a watch along of Nightmare on Elm Street because it's my favourite horror. My channel logo is based around that, and the tagline and everything is based around that. I've got plenty of stuff here, you know. So second video, I was like, well, do I do another watch along, or do I do something a bit different? And there's a guy online, I don't know if you've heard of him or not, but he's called Paul Bailey, and he does wonderful recreations of Freddy Krueger. I mentioned him on my last video actually when I watched the sequel to that film. He is probably I want to see him hired as the next Freddy Krueger if they ever if they ever rebooted it.
Right, okay,
he
yeah.
looks and talks and acts amazingly like him. He crafts the most wonderful busts and things like that of him, and he also did a great fan film called the Last Dream of Detective Coleman, and it was like a prequel to the original Wes Craven story.
Okay.
And I messaged him about interviewing him, and he was more than happy to do it. And we had a really good discussion about his ideas for the franchise and the movie that he'd made. And he even had he sat in the basement where he'd made all the gloves and everything, and he was showing me the stuff. So that was like a real highlight. That made me feel like I can do more of this. You know, I was really pleased with that one.
Yeah, it took you to a really nice place and met someone who you wouldn't have originally met just through your YouTube channel. So that's a really nice moment for yourself, which is really, really fantastic. What would be your top 3 films to recommend to someone then, considering your channel? I saw the face there.
Do you mean stuff
I put pressure on you now.
Do you mean stuff I've got on there?
Yeah.
Oh,
from
right.
The videos you reviewed. What would be, all time.
Thank you for narrowing the goalposts there a bit. Yeah.
What would be the necessarily 3 films you've watched from your channel, if you can think of 3 that you might recommend to people that you really think they should go and watch, even if it's low budget or necessarily a low present film or anything like that?
I'm just using it as reference now because I've forgotten half of the stuff I've done because I'm always thinking about the next thing, which is a good way to be, I think.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, looking ahead.
Well, to be honest, if you take like the obvious ones out, like I would recommend Freddy to anybody, but I would say something along the lines of one of these videos is actually one of my categories of content is Class 6.
Okay.
Classics. It's supposed to be a pun, right?
We'll get the little ka-chunka.
Yeah, 2 drums and a cymbal. Yeah, and it's basically where I look back at old classic movies from like the 50s and the 40s and things like that. Mm-hmm. And because I want to bring them to the front for people to sort of see them, because I think, you know, that without them we don't have a lot of what we've got today.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially, it's a lot of building blocks of films that are made today with special effects and things like that.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. And certainly with it, like if I'll do a few horror ones at some point. I've got A Creature from the Black Lagoons coming through on VHS soon to my house, so I'm looking forward to that. But one I would recommend is a Class 6 one I did, and that's it's The Stranger with Orson Welles from 1946.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a good one. He's a war criminal, but he's disguised as a school teacher in a small town trying to lay low, but he's got an obsession with clocks, and that's the only thing that he can be identified by. So.
Yeah, no, a great film and great recommendation. So
you know it, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, there's so many people don't know it.
I like the classic films because it's a great upbringing, and it's great, especially for me with trying to do the thing that I'm trying to do behind the scenes and production and things like that. I really get into nitty gritty of old classic films and where things come from and originals, and a lot of moderner films are based off original films. Yeah. A lot of people don't notice.
We'll have to do something, I think, then. I'd love to talk about something like that on whenever you'd have me on.
Yeah, no, like let's we'll do another video another day about old-timey movies. But no, for me personally, I prefer a lot of classics. Like a lot of people, I like the old Jerry Lewis films, because for me it's slapstick. It's great. It was me doing drama and things like that. It was really eye-opening, kind of like a Jerry Lewis sort of, not Jerry Lewis, so Jim Carrey sort of vibe, modern day one. But for me, his films. Back in the day, especially when he invented things like the monitor for the camera, for some of his films, and just where would we be without that today?
Exactly. Well, actually, the next one I was going to suggest is The King of Comedy.
Amazing. You're sticking it in there now.
See what I did there?
You're getting them all in today, aren't you?
But yeah, I did watch a review on that, but then I also did a podcast with Watch It If You Can podcast, and they loved that movie, and they were just waiting to talk about it with somebody. So they've advertised that something chronic. So I wanted to get that one in because I think that's a much underappreciated movie. And the other one,
the final one, if you can find one. If not, we'll leave it at 2. But if you can find your third favourite.
Well, if we're going singular movies, I would actually recommend Triangle.
Okay, I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, from 2009. It's sort of a horror, but it's a horror, but it's more sort of thriller, suspense, very mystery driven. But yeah, it's a very creepy vibe. But I really recommend that. It's not got a huge budget or anything, but it really hits. I did I think a discussion on that with another creator in America, and it's yeah, really really worth it, that one.
Yeah, no, no. Sometimes it isn't always about the biggest blockbuster with the most money. Sometimes the low budget of films actually can come out a lot better because it adds to the mystery and the suspense of it not having all that money and the special effects cameras. And I won't spoil you on special effects because I know you're going mad at me, but
Well, I'm not. I'm okay on special effects. I've got opinions on the amount of CGI that's used, but because I'm very much a practical effects man. So.
what do you mean you love Marvel films today? What do you mean? We've just lost half the audience now that we've mentioned about Marvel.
I would watch Marvel films when no one else is anymore.
Right. Okay.
So when they've stopped being so mainstream and everyone's forgotten about them, that's when I'm getting on board, and then I'll tell you what I think. But I just feel like that kind of thing, it's so commercial, it just kills it.
Especially the last few that have come out, even the cinema box office sales have been down with those, haven't they? Because I think they're just
milking the cow, and
yeah, essentially on that. But yeah, no. So for yourself, would there necessarily be any advice for someone else going into what you're doing, starting their own channel, thinking about it? Would there be any necessarily tips or tricks? I know it's a bit of a tough question for the things you might have been through, but for someone else who's out there listening now, they might be going, I'm thinking about doing what you're doing, leaving my job, maybe pursuing something I really want to do. Is there anything you might want to just give them a pat on the shoulder and just say, give this one a little go?
I think if anybody's thinking about doing that, I would say do plan ahead. Give yourself something to fall back on. So maybe say, I'll do this in 6 months' time. I'm going to do it. Save a little as well, so you've got something there. And then really go for it. Don't half-arse it or anything. Just really go in and try and be a little different. Like, for example, when I make a video, often I'll look at the movie and I'll go, is there a scene in that film that's quite famous? And I will try and put myself in the scene on a green screen or something and do something stupid with it.
Those,
yeah, just to make it slightly different. And then that gives you material to put in the reel. So you can bring people in by going, check this scene out. Oh, that was really funny. Oh, by the way, watch the rest of the video here. So just try and be a little different and try and put some effort into the way it looks as well, because I can guarantee that I've had more positive feedback for the setup and the introduction video on my videos than I would have done had I just gone, hi guys, this is me in my bedroom and I'm just gonna talk without any editing or production. Really try and put the effort into how it looks, because if it looks good, people tend to want to see more.
Yeah, keeping them entertained, keeping them hooked, essentially. Yeah. And like you were saying, this lovely setup you have now, like, is this necessarily in your bedroom in a small space? Because have you got a lot of equipment essentially to run your channel, or is it just, as you said, is it just a corner of a room and you've made do with what you have?
That's exactly it. It's essentially like, if my channel was at the moment was a wrestling company, it would be backyard. That's the best way I can put it. I'm a fan, so it's an easy analogy to make. But I would say that you don't necessarily go, don't be put off by the fact that you need a whole bunch of equipment. I would say start small. I've got a couple of microphones here that haven't really cost an awful lot, but they do a decent job. And at the moment, I don't sound like I'm behind glass on my videos. It's clear enough. It could be better, but that comes further down the line. Just start small. Yeah, I think some people get put off by the fact they think they've got to budget massive amounts. It's just not the way it is.
Oh, 100%. I've been speaking to other people who just said, like, I don't have the best camera, I don't have lighting, this audio, that, I can't do that. Or they go out and try and raise all this money on like the GoFundMe apps because they want to start doing things. It's like, just start small. You have an iPhone, it films in 4K.
Yeah.
It has a microphone on it. Just pull your iPhone out. And I know it's not great, like you said, sometimes things can go wrong. It can be a little bit blurry, a little bit this, but just start getting them before going out and going, I'm going to buy this camera for this amount and this equipment. Just start small. I think that's really great advice from yourself. Just start small with what you have and then grow slowly as it comes.
I used to film, I like cooking, and I used to film recipes sometimes just for a bit of a laugh on Facebook. And when I filmed them, I had a selfie stick and I taped it to the wall. That was how I produced it, and it looked great. I had the
Yeah.
whole kitchen behind me, and nobody could tell any different. You can do things like that. A lot of this is sort of, oh, I can't. I was filming something the other day, and I couldn't get to the microphone. I just put I think it was a pile of about 6 cardboard boxes in front of me and stood the microphone on it and just made sure they weren't in shot. This is how filmmakers make movies sometimes, and certainly back in the 80s and 70s and stuff, when they were working out how to do effects and stuff, they would do crazy stuff like this. Nightmare on Elm Street's a great example. He stood behind the wall. It's where he's coming through the wall behind Nancy's bed. Yeah. All that was like some like a latex or something, and he just pressed himself through it.
Yeah.
It's so easy to make a setup just for now, and then if it gets successful and you're doing well down the line, maybe put a little bit aside for a better mic or a tripod or something like that. In my case, I bought some big backing lights, that you would put behind a green screen.
Oh yeah.
I'm not quite using them to effect yet. My green screen is actually rolled up and stuffed in the corner up there because I
was just waiting for you to say it. Sellotape to the ceiling. You were just looking up, and
I haven't got the setup yet to stretch it. So I've essentially just been pulling it from my cupboard, attaching it to the cupboard doors, and then trapping it in the top of the door.
Okay.
But it seems to work with.
If it's working, it's working.
Yeah.
There's no. At the end of the day, if it works for the shot and it comes out in the wash, it really doesn't matter how it was made.
I would just like to say as well what a wonderful thing some of these edit apps on the phone are. InShot I use regularly. It's not.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't cost. I feel like I'm advertising it here, but it doesn't cost a lot.
One shot.
Yeah, but you can make really professional looking videos off that. You don't even need to take it to the PC or to Adobe Premiere or anything. I just use my phone for some of the quicker videos.
Yeah. No, I think that's become a little bit more of the culture, isn't it? With a lot of these adverts on social media pushing, you need to have a camera, you need to have DaVinci Resolve, you need to have this. You don't always. There's people out there who are doing viral TikToking. It's just all done by their phone. They edit in the app. They use the app. They like these adverts for what CapCut, like you're saying, one shot. Come to our software and just put it in, and we do it all.
Oh, another piece of advice. I didn't know I had this much.
It's all coming out of barrels now.
Yeah.
I better put the lid back on. Put the lid back.
Before you do, with things like, I've got Adobe Premiere, and I've not used that for my whole life. I've been using like Sony Vegas Movie Studio, those kind of things. And my partner said I would get Adobe because everybody who wants to edit seriously uses that. I can use that to about 40% of its capabilities. And if there's anything I'm not sure what to do, I just go on YouTube and watch other people instructing you how to use it, and I just follow it and learn as I go.
Yeah.
But again, I only need 40% skills on Adobe to produce a decent enough, watchable, entertaining video. So you don't need to like go on massive courses forever and a day, and you don't. I think some people think they need like 3 years preparation for things like this.
I know. I think it's more people trying to get into the industry fully, like TV and things, because I've been to a few things myself, and it's sort of like, oh, what have you made in the 6 months that's been categorized under this, or what have you produced in the last 6 months that's been on telly, or what have you edited, and let's see it now, and let's review it, and what did you use? Oh, you used that. So I think it's more in the professional stance that's a little bit frowned upon. But yeah, no, I think for creators, people like myself and possibly you, it's just what comes naturally and what comes easier for us, instead of spending hours on something we don't essentially need to, when we can have something that's a lot more easy to use.
Well, it's again starting just small, because I do feel for people that want to get into the professional industry because you are scrutinised and expect to know this and have this equipment and that and this experience and everything. But you've got to start somewhere, and I think I've got that in my mind now. I stopped trying to be too much too soon and just thought, well, if I put enough decent content out, maybe a foot's in the door there.
Yeah, no, well, like I said, obviously you've been releasing your content. We've necessarily found each other on Instagram, so obviously you must be doing something right to be able to find new people, meet new people, and it's all to do, like you said, with that keep pushing, getting the content out there. I'm not at the point where I'm able to make as much content as yourself. Like I said, I still have the annoying full-time day job at the moment. I wish I could release 3-4 things a week. At the moment, it seems to be more like releasing something once a week on a Friday. Please do well. please get me more followers. Please, if that makes sense. At the minute, for myself, it's hard from my point of view, especially trying to go into more making feature films, TV series, things like that. It's a really definite cutthroat industry. Why do we have you when we can have someone who's been doing it for 10 years?
That's like the thing, yeah. You wonder how anyone starts, really, don't you?
Yeah. But I feel like it's a great time to do a quick fire round of 1-word answers. So we're just going to give you some options, and you have to try and give us some 1-word answers. See, look, I'm throwing things at you didn't expect.
I have
to
a
happen
slow
now.
reacting brain. I'm going to let you know
They're going to
now.
be really easy ones, okay? It's not a lot. It's only like 3 or 4 because I know you're offering you out now. But it's just, okay, so things like, YouTube or Spotify?
YouTube.
Horror or sci-fi?
Oh, horror.
Horror. Movies or series? Movies. Original films or sequels?
Original.
Oh, okay. The Shining or Elm Street?
Oh, Elm Street has to be.
See, and that was it. It was just a quick
was that
fire round. See, that's what I'm saying. It was easy. It's panic. Look at the sweat dripping off your face.
Well, no, it's when I get given like word association or something. That's when I struggle. Because I can know all the words in the English language.
I could just feel the pressure coming through the screen.
I do ooze that stress, I must say. It's still not quite fixed yet, that.
But no, like myself, I've been watching your videos and everything, as I mentioned before, and I think you're doing a really great job yourself. Like, especially it's really nice to hear that you're using what you have. You're not sort of waiting for someone to offer you something. You're not saying, I need this big studio, this equipment. You've just gone out there, you're doing it yourself, you're slowly building your studio up. It'd be nice to see a nice green screen behind you at some point. Set up full length. You keep looking up.
I can't tell you how bad that looks, but but I do find the green screen is something that it's not a big enough room, and I sort of, instead of getting frustrated, I just look at what I have and what my limitations are now, as opposed to going, oh, I wish it was bigger, or I wish I had this, and I just go, right, what have I got and how can I use it?
Yeah, what is, like you said, one of your goals at the minute? Would it be to move to your own studio? Would it be to move into a radio job, maybe something like that, if that opportunity come up? Or have you thought about anything like that? Or
I must say that the idea of a radio job really appeals to me all of a sudden. It never used to.
Okay.
I know somebody that does hospital radio, and I keep thinking every day that'd be so much fun. But I think it's because I've got more used to talking now and being able to reduce the amount of ums and ahs in between sentences. I hope I have anyway.
It's always helpful.
Yeah, and I think because I've talked now on camera for so long, and I've done quite a few of the like podcasts and things like this, I feel more confident in talking. So therefore, I probably could go into that kind of sector. I don't know where I will go after I finish this course, but I'd like to think that there is an opportunity out there that doesn't require like years and years of experience, and I can start again,
Yeah. Would it be, like you said about the radio, would it be something you start to look at, or would it be more you'd prefer to have your own little studio and do more of your channel going forward, or would it be going and finding something else leading on from this that's giving you the confidence to do that? Or
well, I want to continue with the channel, certainly, and I know that myself and my partner eventually are going to be moving, and we will have a lot more space then, so I can sort of just build again, and this time, I can make it look doubly impressive. But it's just about patience, really. But I would like to carry the channel on, and then if anything branches from what I'm doing on the channel, then great, but it's a bonus.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that, and like I said, I really appreciate yourself putting your time and effort in. It's really nice to hear that you're doing well, you want to strive, you're really happy at what you're doing, and you're not forcing yourself to, like you said, you're doing it for love, which is really nice to see and hear. And I know, especially being online like yourself, I've mentioned this in a preview, sometimes it's hard to get compliments and appraisal sometimes. Yeah. They didn't even have to say anything, just the look there was great, good enough. How have you been working that side of it? It's a bit of a different topic, but how have you been working that side of it, like the essentially the trolls? Have you had to deal with anything like that, or the negativity? Or because it's not, like I said, obviously I'm praising you now, but for me personally, I don't get a lot of you might get a few likes and comments on the videos, but I don't feel like there's a lot of love out there all the time.
No, there isn't. But what I will say, just before I actually answer that question properly, is that the movie world and the horror world that I am part of on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, is so much better than every other one I've ever, like every other sector I've ever been in. I feel far happier on on those channels, talking to those people, responding to those comments and stuff, and just getting involved. I feel far happier in there than I could ever do with football or
Oh,
even like, you know, and I'm a wrestling fan. That community is a nightmare a lot of the time. There's just so much toxicity going on. I don't feel like that in the film aspect, you know. And
okay.
to answer your question, I haven't really had any for this channel. I don't really see. And funnily enough, it's like I'm almost reiterating my therapy session today, but I said that I've started looking now at, if I get a negative comment, if somebody thinks my opinion on a movie sucks and I don't know what I'm talking about, if I can tell that they are like a serious, articulate person and that's just their opinion, I'll ask why, and I'll get into a discussion about them, because it's better to engage like that than it is to than it is to go, well, don't watch then. You know, but I think
it's easier though, isn't it, to say just don't watch, just go away.
Yeah,
just
but it
watch
does
somebody
depend on
else.
how they speak to me. If they say, "Mate, you are off your head. How can you like that film? It's terrible. You have such bad taste." I'll go, "Oh well, you know, I guess we're all different. Why? What's your favourite?" Whereas if somebody comes on calling me something obscene and being personal, then it's just a case of get them on the bike and don't bother with them again. But I interact with people that are happy to interact on a sensible level. And at the moment, I've not had any trolls or anything. I'm not quite at that level yet. I guess that's what I'm striving for. Really.
That's your yearly goal.
Yeah.
I want by the end of the year, I want to try.
I want to be important enough to be trolled. Yeah. What's it coming to?
That's a really sad thing to want to be.
It is. Well, I can't. I want the status. I don't want the backlash. But you know, I guess one comes with the other, doesn't it? So.
But no, that's interesting to hear from your point of view, because obviously, from my point of view, I don't normally, like, my personal thing is don't interact with them normally, because sometimes it just makes them worse, especially some of the previous content I've made with certain people, certain body shapes, sizes, and things like this, where you get the nasty comments and things like that.
Well, they're just for reactions, aren't they? There's
essentially, yeah, and it's just, unfortunately, it is the world we live in with TikTok and social media and things like that. People think they can say what they want, and but that's not the place. But anyway, on a lighter note,
now we've got that out of the way.
now we've got all the depressing stuff out of the way. But like I said, I'm really enjoying your channel. I really hope that you keep it up and everything like that. I hope if there's anyone listening took any of your advice about wanting to go into the industry of YouTubing or anything like that. Hopefully we can have you back again, Mitch, because it's actually been, I think it's been a really great chat with yourself, finding out in-depth stuff. It'd be nice to talk to you a bit further down the line. Maybe even do a watch along with you. That'd be really nice.
Yeah, that'd be great. I like doing rankings.
One of the
classicos.
Well, so.
Yeah, I like doing like top tens and things like that as well. You know, just to compare. So that'd be cool. Something like that. I'll take anything at the moment. So.
But no, it'd be interesting to speak to yourself further down the line when you've moved to your new place and you've set up your new storage. Have you already started planning that, or the new setup you have, or no?
That's the missus. I'm not involved in that.
You're not allowed. She won't even let you put the posters up. It's just.
No, she'll let me do anything, but you know, all the technical side of things and it's sort of, she's better organised than I am in that sense. So.
Okay, no, that's no problem. But hey guys, thanks for joining us today. Jam Productions presents Let's Talk Production. Thank Mitch, Primetime Mitch, for joining us today. Please go and follow him, like his channel across all social media channels. Apart from that, guys, I'll see you soon, and just keep smiling. Bye bye.